very happy that you can be here and listen to us, and may the best energy source win. We're here to talk about the benefits of using hydropower energy as the main source of electricity in the USA. Hydropower has a simple idea. Using water to spin a turbine creates electricity in a generator. To do this, a dam has to be built across the river. When a dam is built, the water behind it becomes a reservoir that can be used for swimming, boating, and fishing. At the bottom of the dam, a penstock, or tunnel, brings water to a turbine. The water spins the turbine and exits the penstock. The turbine's energy creates electricity in the generator and gets distributed in power lines to the towns and cities. There's already 2,000 hydropower plants in the USA. That number is very big, and there is still room for more. Water is free, and the water cycle will never stop. Just so that you get an idea of how much a hydroelectricity plant makes for how little, think of this. An average household in Wisconsin uses 10,932 kilowatts per hours per month. Kilowatt hours are a unit of electricity that usually costs about 12 cents per kilowatt hour using other energy sources. With hydropower, 1 kilowatt hour costs 0.7 cents. Hydropower production in Wisconsin is about 2.1 billion kilowatt hours per year, or about 175 million kilowatt hours per month. That means in Wisconsin, a state with not that much hydropower can power 192,096 households per year for $918.28. Compare that to $1,574.20, which is the average cost of electricity for a year using other energy sources. Hydropower has been used for thousands of years, mainly in Europe. In the 1800s, people made big wooden wheels and put them into lakes so that the water spanned them. The wheel's energy was used to grind wheat and corn. This was a way of using hydropower to do things. The hydropower process has been used for very long, meaning that scientists know how it works and know how to improve it. We also don't need to teach people how hydropower works because they probably already know. Rivers aren't rare in the USA. There's at least one in every state. Almost any river is a good spot for a dam. We also aren't lacking concrete. Every resource that we need to make a functional hydropower dam is available. If we need to make a dam, we have concrete. Turbines are made of glass fiber, and that is also very common. In conclusion, hydropower is a very efficient and cheap source of energy.
I would just like to say one thing. We did make a slight mistake in there when we said there are 2,000 hydropower plants. That is actually not true. There are 2,000 dams, but not all of them are working hydropower plants. But it is a good opportunity in the future to be able to put turbines in there because we already have the dams built. You done?
Yes.
Hello, honorable judges. We are here today to talk and debate about geothermal energy, and we believe should be the country's alternative energy source. We barely pollute, and this energy source will never run out. It is cheap to use to power your house. Using steam is a great deal, and that is what we will use for this energy source. It uses water from the ground, but not too much of it. Though the hydropower plants are a little bit expensive, it is about the same cost as a coal plant. Also, we are planning to power the entire country, as we assume everyone else is. So it is really cheap, and it would cost you around $50 per month to power your house, depending on how much energy you use. Our energy source is good because it only uses steam to produce the energy. It is also clean and sustainable. Resources of geothermal energy range from the shallow ground to hot water and hot rock found a few miles beneath the Earth's surface, and down even deeper in the extremely high temperatures of molten rock called magma. Although this is a really good energy source, it can affect the soil. But when we take the water from the ground, it makes the soil a little bit dry. But we condense the steam back to the water and inject it back into the ground so the soil is not messed up. We plan to power the western states, Hawaii, and Alaska on geothermal energy because there are not a lot of good places to produce geothermal energy in the east. Though this sounds like a bad idea, we will power the entire western side of the U.S., so we will not need fossil fuels at all in the west. Geothermal energy is a great resource. With barely no pollution, you should definitely get geothermal energy to power your house because all of this for such a great price is a great deal. We hope geothermal energy can be our country's alternative energy source, and we hope that you will vote for geothermal energy. Thank you.
Good job. So then, geothermal can decide if they'd like to go first or second with the argument.
Well, we started with the best way, so we can go
Should we go
But
first?
they get to decide. They might want to defer to them.
Hydropower disturbs the flow of Hydropower disrupts the flow of the river and can ruin the life cycle of fish. Fish are important to our ecosystem.
So,
Juliana, the video? We are going to the video.
We have a video. I'll leave it in.
So, yes, it might disturb the lives of fish, but with new technology that can be prevented. Also, if the flow of the you say that the flow of the river can change, but it's not like every dam will do so. It's not that common. And this is a new technology that helps hydropower be safe for fish.
Technology is also making hydropower even more environmentally friendly. For example, researchers are reducing adverse impacts on fish with fish-friendly turbines. And fish ladders, like these, let them swim around dams.
So, I've been distracted. So, what was the main argument here?
That it can disrupt the flow of the river and can ruin the life cycle of fish.
Thank you. And then, so that video showed, like, very quickly some things you're doing to make sure that that's not true.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so the new technology is they're developing new turbines that are fish friendly, and then they also have fish ladders which can help the fish swim around us. And so far, there's also the stopping the flow of the river. After it goes through the turbine, then it continues on in a stream. So after we use the water, it will just continue on to flow, but. Obviously, we can't stop from putting it in.
Done.
Okay, so you weren't very available. You can only dig into the ground in specific places. Most of these places are on the west coast. A geologist is investigated to see if it meets requirements before they can add a plant. This would take a while in addition to building the power plant. So basically, you guys have to have a geologist come out and investigate the site before you can build a power plant there to see if it meets the requirements. And we found that this could take several months. Done.
Yes. That it has a long process that needs to be done before we can start the geothermal site, but if we get on this project right away, it will be done before we know it, and a geothermal site can produce a lot of energy, and we have a technology we'd like to use.
And I would also like to add on to that, to also say, like, even though we can power, like, some of the states that we can power, we're, like, powering all of them. We're doing our best to power the ones that we can, so,
Yeah, it is mostly available in the west, but as you can see, there's a couple spots in the east that we could use. But as I said before, you're correct, it does take some time to figure out if this site is good, but then it does produce a lot of electricity, so it is worth it. Anything else? Done.
Zero.
Yeah.
Our Earth is already having water problems. Is it really necessary to power our country almost completely on water power?
Can you repeat
Done.
that, please?
I'll repeat it. Our Earth is already having water problems. Is it really necessary to power our country almost completely on water power?
Well, I don't really understand what you mean by water problems, but if you mean we're kind of like going short on water, hydropower does not waste the water. Every ounce of water that goes into the hydropower plant comes out 100% of it, and you can use any liquid really, any like it doesn't waste. It's not like it goes away once you use it.
Besides, like, magma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Done.
So, in extreme cases, geothermal power plants can cause earthquakes and cause volcanoes to erupt.
Done.
Geothermal energy can cause earthquakes, but we can find a new way to build it so it won't make earthquakes. But anyways, geothermal power plants can cause earthquakes also.
No,
And hydropower can cause earthquakes also.
when digging the reservoirs and making the dams. Done.
Making dams on rivers affects the amount of temperature of water which flows in streams, which has effects on the agriculture and drinking water.
Agriculture.
We can
Done.
Okay. We can build. Again, since hydropower it has been used for thousands of years, we can find a way to make that to prevent that. And scientists are already working on it, and also it doesn't when the water changes, it's not usually a like drastic change. It usually drops or goes up by a few degrees, at the most 20, but that's kind of rare. Done.
It can re-
The power plants.
the power plants are very high maintenance. Are very high maintenance and can be dangerous if they aren't cared for properly.
Yes, geothermal power plants are expensive, but hydropower plants are more expensive than geothermal. Yeah, and then I have something to add on to that. Also, it's not like it's gonna do something. A power plant in geothermal is gonna do something bad because the only cause of that would be like by a human. A human could make like go bad. Yeah.
But also, running the geothermal power plants are, yes, as you said, they are expensive, but the cost of the energy that the plants are producing is pretty cheap, so luckily it's not too big of a problem. Anything else? Done.
The reservoir of water for hydropower releases a large amount of carbon dioxide, which can increase pollution.
Well,
Done.
I've never actually heard that.
I haven't heard
I
that
haven't heard
before.
that.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't
You didn't
think
find that?
the things that you don't really dig reservoirs. It kind of happens.
And I would like to add on to that, the reservoirs are also used for boating and fishing too. So I mean, it's not really like, yeah.
Also, I haven't like on my research. I've never heard of a reservoir being dug. I mean, like I've never really heard of that. I mean, I might be wrong, but just on my research, I've never really, it's usually just the reservoir just goes, just
Yeah,
happens.
when you build the dam.
I've never heard of that, but we might be wrong.
Done.
Kiddos, we'll call it in 2 more minutes, okay? To, like, for lunch. We'll continue.
Would we just leave the setup here?
Yeah, we're just gonna put computers so they're plugged in, that's all.
Okay. So, the power plants can release toxic chemicals into the earth, like arsenic, boron, and mercury. It can also sometimes leak sulfur dioxide and silica.
Even though it releases some,
Done.
even though it releases some carbon dioxide, or in some cases other gases, most of the geothermal power plants are far away from homes, and also hydropower does too. And this it does not happen drastically.
Is he hearing?
Okay.
Done. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sure. Even though it releases some carbon dioxide and in some cases other gases, most of the geothermal power plants are far away from homes. So this does not happen too often, but as I said, it's far away from homes and other.
Isn't that your defense stuff?
Yeah.
So why did they need to repeat it?
Cause I was told that
Oh,
was
no,
the argument.
no, don't answer that then.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay, you've got an argument though.
That was their defense, and then they asked for it again.
Yeah, don't ask for it again, okay? Like a defense. An argument you can ask to rehear it, but you can't ask for a defense again. Sorry, just because that confused me. So,
Alright.
geothermal, go ahead and give me your argument, then we gotta go.
Okay.
I've heard that lots of the time new hydropower plants flood the land around it. We can't just be flooding the whole country.
Well,
Done.
Wait, done?
it happens actually naturally in like every body of water. It's going to flood no matter what, because it's just gonna rain. So I mean, like even in a natural river with no dam, it's gonna flood.
Also, I just want to add on to that. Also, it's also the land. It's not gonna flood the whole country. It's only gonna flood probably at the most 5 feet. But it's also the land around it. If there's people living there, they're asked if they can leave their homes or something like that. Because you're not just gonna flood people's homes. It's expected and we try to yeah.
And also, there could easily be a way to
Sand
like go around it. Like, I mean, we could put some like sort of barrier up so that it doesn't flood. I mean, it's not too hard of a problem.
And I like to add on to that. People that
Give me five. We should start cleaning up for.
Just get your computers plugged in. Half of these are Lattice computers. Can we plug them in over there, guys?
Yeah.
We can even take them
Should
as
we just
go.
leave our computers?
But we're math at
I know, so let's let them stay plugged in for 2 hours, and then, don't worry about the tables, that's not gonna hurt math.
What about the chairs?
That's fine. Kids can grab them for math, we just wanted to maximize.
We have to bring these two. There we go.
Mr. Solar, I forgot you need to bring this timer.
No, you have the five.
Alright, hydropower, let's listen.
Okay. The geothermal plants can use between 1,700 and 4,000 gallons of water per megawatt hour of equivalent. Done.
Okay, so I've never seen that before, but we do use water. Yeah, we do use a lot of water, but then all the water we use from the ground, it's turned into steam by the hot stuff in the earth. Sorry, and then when it comes and turns the turbines, and we make the energy, then we condense the steam back into water and inject it back into the earth. So we recycle the entire process. So So we're not really using more, and we're not really using it less. It's just like the same stuff over and over. Anything else? Okay, done. Okay.
Shreya.
Hydropower dams have burst because water is very strong and it has killed lots of people. Do you have a plan to avoid this? Because you're gonna make lots of hydropower plants? Done.
In fact, we do, because now, since there's so many hydropower plants, and $200 billion, it doesn't take much to reinforce dams. It doesn't take much money. So, all the dams that we have, we can reinforce them to be even stronger. And dam bursts are dams that burst only happen when they're poor quality and when they're older. Now we can renew them. Yeah, we can try.
Yeah, I want to add on because the new dam designs are actually are more efficient and a whole lot stronger. The older dams are the ones that are bursting. But the newer ones are much more stronger and more are less capable of bursting.
Don't speed through it. It sounds like we're going real fast. I'm not mad. You might have good answers. Just, make sure you get everything that you really want. Thanks, kiddo.
It can't be transported, which is a bad because there aren't very sites and needs to be transported, but it's fun.
Yeah, so you guys don't have that many sites that you can use it in, and unlike coal and oil, it's hard to transport. So, done.
We can use pipes and transport the energy to power lines that are nearby.
And I'm just gonna add on to that. Since we don't have that many geothermal plants right now, as you said, but obviously we're gonna build more because we have a lot of room and space and stuff. And since the plants are kind of in the middle of nowhere, we use pipes to transport the energy just to the power lines, and then the power lines can transport the energy to nearby buildings or houses. Anything else?
Okay. So, anyways, I think what they meant is that it's kind of slow when they transport it. But even though it may be a little bit slow, it's still a little bit. It's still worth it. Done.
Are you guys checking with your partners before you say done?
We had 3 seconds.
Oh, and you can let it expire. You don't lose points if it beeps at you. You get that, guys? You just have to stop talking when it beeps. Yep.
Big dams can cause erosion and landslides.
That is true, but once again, we are.
I directly heard that because me and TJ were the ones who were researching the cons, and they never saw anything on that. And we looked on every single website, and
We
there was
haven't
nothing
seen
on
that, but I definitely
is-
believe that could be true.
We can find a way to build the dams so that there's new concrete that's much lighter that won't cause as much erosion and mudslides. And usually the mudslides aren't really bad. They're really minor.
Done.
The power plant can run out of steam if you pour too much water in the plant.
Yeah, so we found that if you cool the plant too much, it may not be hot enough because it has to be 350 degrees Fahrenheit for the steam to come out, at least. So it can run out of steam. Done.
Okay. Even though we can run out of steam, all of the other sites will still work. And I'm going to add on to that. As you're correct, that it has to be a certain temperature for it to actually become into steam and to make the energy. But as I said before, we recycle the process, so anything that isn't hot enough, we can inject it back into the earth, and later, when we get that again, it'll be hot enough. So it's just a recycled process. So if it doesn't work, we can do it again. Anything else? Okay, done.
It has limited use because if you don't have yearly rainfalls, it will not work properly.
When you guys say it, can you be more clear that you mean hydropower or whatever?
Hydropower.
Can you replace the it though for me? Say it again.
Hydropower has limited use because if you don't have yearly rainfalls, hydropower will not work properly.
Yes, but since we have, since there's water really
Wait, guys.
everywhere.
Are you done?
Yeah, done.
The thing is that
Since there are bodies of water everywhere, we can have multiples in one state. So, and we can, and there are probably, and since there are so many of them, we could borrow some from probably from a dam that's close to the state in another state, but that's pretty close. And so if there was little rainfall in one area, in one place, we could get, but there was heavy rainfall in the state next to it. We could use the energy from that state.
I want to add on something. Also, you said that if there's not yearly rain, but there is yearly rain.
Most places.
The water cycle hasn't really stopped in any point in history. Water cycle keeps on going, and we will keep on having water.
And it's not like it's ever gonna stop raining.
Exactly.
Done.
You guys don't have to rush it. You just let it run out.
Exactly. So why don't you do your last two arguments at this point, kiddos? So take the last two.
So,
You can take a minute to pick though, like the other team may need it. Check this out. You don't have to start the timer yet. If I give them a few minutes to, or a few seconds.
One to need the large scale power plants. So 14
You chose me.
Not yet. We just have to put that in this. Okay. Oh, let's just combine it. We do that one. We do C.
You guys make sure you email the guy back to the answers to your questions. And then we'll make it out to the So I'll check my email from the doctor and then respond back. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, we would never be able to use only geothermal to as the only electricity source for the world, and it's also 15% less efficient than our current energy source, and it would never be able to work all by its own because of the because there's not enough areas to build the
Can I add on
power
to that?
plants. Yeah.
So she's saying that it's not going to be on its own. So we're not going to take down. We're not going to take down any. I mean, the thing is that if you want geothermal to be powering the West, it's probably not really going to be enough because to put a geothermal power plant as a specific area, those areas are really hard to find, and it's going to be really hard to build more. Done.
So yeah, we already said that we were only going to power the West, along with Hawaii and Alaska. But we plan to do like the entire Western, and our country is already running on fossil fuels and other energy sources, not completely, just minorly. So if we can do that just for parts, for like just less than half the country, if we're already doing it for the whole country, if we do that for half the country, and then we power the entire West on geothermal, and like the entire, because we have a lot of money to use and we have a lot of good, never mind, and we have a little technology that we already showed, but we're going to show it again.
So, as you can see here, this is all the West, and then this all this part of the United States would be powered on all the coal power plants and the these that we already know, but all in the west, we can power the entire west with geothermal energy. If you can see all these dots, there's lots of stuff that we can power. The west can power most of the United States.
Done.
Dragon.
Building large dams alters the natural water table. Means that in some places the water is too high and in some places the water is too low.
Wait,
Done.
could you repeat that, please?
Okay. Building large dams alters the natural water table. Means that in some places the water is too high and in some places the water is too low. Done.
So the thing is that that is oh, can I get another you can Okay, so the thing is that yes, that is true. But the thing is that when you put a dam across the river, you don't go, okay, Lake Arlington, put a dam there. You don't do it randomly. They specifically choose spots that wouldn't alter it too badly.
And also, especially even though the dam isn't for hydropower, they can actually raise and lower this wall in it to actually like alter the water flow. So the water's they can actually make it so that it's, if the water's too high, they can let more water run into the Salt Creek, and then so that the lake will lower, and then if it's
Do we have one last argument?
Yes.
So we know that the large-scale power plants can be dangerous to the Earth's surface, but we don't really know how much damage is caused. But I mean, we can infer that it would probably damage because you're basically drilling into the Earth's crust and like digging into the Earth, but no one really knows how much damage it could cause. Anything to add on to that?
Can I add something?
Yeah.
And although the damage can be little, there is still damage. And if the damage to the Earth's crust suddenly just appears, we're not going to be ready for it. So, in a way, it's dangerous.
Done.
Okay. You want to say something first?
Okay. So anyway, it doesn't really harm the Earth because it just digs in. It doesn't like it digs in, and since the Earth's like inside the Earth is so warm, it just like and then there's like water in the ground. We take the water out. It doesn't cause too much like harm in the Earth because it's not like we just make so many holes that people fall in there. So yeah.
Okay, but drilling into the rock is, you kind of implied this, that you were saying it's kind of not, but drilling into the rock is kind of difficult, but we're making new technology so it'll be easier, so we can get more geothermal energy, and also, but in some places, that's why we take, why the geologists come and evaluate it, so we don't drill into a tectonic plate and cause an earthquake, or anything like that.
You guys have one more argument? Or no?
Yep.
That was it?
Yeah, we have one more.
One more argument?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's going to be.
Both of our energy sources have very expensive power plants, but we are only going to power the western states along with Hawaii and Alaska, but I assume you want to power the full country, so there might be a problem there.
well
Done.
well since there's basically water in sort of there's basically water in every state, so and you can only power the west, but we can power the entire. We can have we can have a couple in like one state and a couple in another because there will basically always be water in the states. So as long as there's water will have the power. So then since you have the magma, you could possibly run out of that, or you could possibly, with all the water that you could possibly use too much water and actually cool down the magma too much.
Can I add something? I'm just gonna say they can't really run out of magma, but we're not. The thing is that we don't actually. The price of our power plant depends on the size of the dam. I think that's it.
So we're done.
So try not to say anything about each team, okay?
Good job.
Remember, we don't want to sway the judges.
Wait, but in court we have 10-minute recesses.
In course, the judge doesn't talk to anybody about it. The judge decides it on his or her own.
Yeah, but we got
Or in this case, the mistake I made. So we don't have a winner yet. They're going to do their concluding statement. So judges, make sure you have a chance to add a point or two or three. All right. I don't remember who did what first because it was this morning.
It was.
Is there somebody who wants to go first? It doesn't make a difference.
You guys can go first.
No, they read the persuasive piece.
Yeah, we read the persuasive first, so you can
Okay.
read the conclusion.
We can just.
It doesn't matter either way. If you have visuals, make sure you show it because the one group wasn't happy that they didn't get to the visuals. But don't say done until you're done. You have as long as you need.
Do you want me to read? Yeah, you can. Okay. Versus. Honorable judges, thank you for coming out today to hear us out. We also would like to say good job to our worthy opponents, but we still have a few more things to say. We would politely like to disagree with our worthy opponents because we thought that they were not correct when, they were kind of correct when talking about mudslides and dams. Here's what we would like to say. Large dams can cause erosion and mudslides when dams are built because the dams are touching the sides of the land, so when all that weight is on it, the rock and dirt can slide into the river.
Hydropower is expensive too to install because you have to make all the dams and it's expensive to install the turbines.
This was a fair debate and we enjoyed it all the way through it. We believe that hydropower is a good energy source, but we also believe that geothermal is better. And we're going to show some technology. This is what happened. When one of the dams burst and 74 people lost their lives.
We're working there.
And then there's another picture of what happened. All of the buildings got destroyed when the water came through. And then here's what they had to clear all the damage that happened. And this is what happened.
And also, it was expensive to do that. Clean up all that stuff. Okay.
It's done.
Done.
Right? About hydropower?
Okay. Dear honorable judges, today was a great debate and we congratulate our worthy opponents for their tremendous effort and hard work. Although we believe that we are more efficient and hydropower is better suited to the United States, we think that geothermal has potential. They did an outstanding job, and if they move on, we wish them luck for what is to come. We hope the judges will be fair and choose the best energy source. Okay, so we have some technology to show you, and it showed you a video of the dam breaking. Oh, we could show you videos of accidents, but we would like to focus on our energy source. So, our ours may cost more than geothermal to make, but ours is the cheapest to operate.
Over
So-
here, see? This is the cost of kilowatt hours in cents. This is solar. This is, what is it? Tidal.
Sounds
This
like
is coal. This is nuclear. This is wind. This is geothermal.
Oh wait, guys, can you really hear her point though?
And this is the cheapest, hydropower.
So
And I mentioned this in my persuasive. Hydropower can be as low as 0.7 cents per kilowatt hour.
And if I can add on, for geothermal, you guys have to keep rebuilding your factory every few years. And then also, this is showing energy consumption throughout the years. It's showing that
This is hydropower.
hydropower is this black line, and then some of the items are down here. That hydropower is being used more and more, and it is continuing to grow.
This is the blue is wind. The green is a worthy opponent, geothermal and biomass. And then the yellow is solar. And then up here is hydropower. This graph this graph demonstrates how renewable hydropower is compared to other energy sources.